Hello, Facebook. We're going to wait for a couple of people to hop on. This is the Morning Sun Podcast Anniversary Edition. We're going to wait for a couple of y'all to hop on, and then we are going to start the audio. So this is Anniversary Edition. If you didn't know, it's our anniversary, and we're going to be doing a list of 7 things. So we have our 7 favorite restaurants. 7 things we love about each other. 7 things that make marriage hard. And then, what was the last one? Why life group is important. We didn't have one other one?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
7 favorite restaurants. Okay, well, we're going to get started. Let me just make sure we're not missing one topic. This is the Morning Sun Podcast. So I'm going to hit record on the audio. All right, so welcome to the Morning Sun Podcast. This is episode 4. I'm your host, TJ Two Braids. This is my wife,
Chelsea Valtira.
She is usually more behind the scenes, doesn't do a lot of, live videos and speaking and rapping and, whatnot. But she's here with us today to join us, and it's going to be pretty cool. So, we're going to get into the first thing. First of all, the Morning Sun Podcast is brought to you by Anchor FM. It's broadcast on Facebook Live, YouTube, so you can follow my YouTube channel at TJ Two Braids. You can follow us on Instagram at the Morning Sun Podcast. So we start with it on Facebook Live, and then from there it goes to YouTube and then Anchor FM. You can add it to Spotify and anywhere else that you get podcasts. So the first thing is our 7 favorite restaurants. So we're just going to go back and forth. One will say one, the next will say one. We love to eat. If you haven't seen me in person, you know that I'm a big guy. So, so you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, I would say one of our top 7 favorite restaurants has to be Boca Chica Lunch Buffet. If you have never been to Boca Chica Lunch Buffet, it's in St. Paul on Wabasha Street. I believe the buffet's from like 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's just a phenomenal buffet. I think it's like $9.99 per person. All you can eat Mexican buffet. Do I need to say anything more? I think not. But if you love food and you love buffets, go to Boca Chica Lunch Buffet. I think it's only Monday through Friday. It's fire.
No.
Maybe it's the weekend. Is it the weekend?
Yeah, their brunch is like supposedly better than the lunch buffet.
Yeah.
The week.
So our first restaurant of our top 7 is Boca Chica in St. Paul.
I would say our second top favorite restaurant is Mama's Pizza in St. Paul, located off of Rice Street. We were actually just talking about this earlier. If you've never been to Mama's Pizza, it's a very small place, and they're located on a corner where they have constantly been crashed into, and yet they're still making bank. The pizza is literally that good.
They've been crashed into. Their water pipes burst twice. They got it all fixed.
Did it get burned?
I don't think it got burnt down. I don't know. It's been through a lot, but we've been going there. I've been going there since a kid. You know, my family put me up on game. But what's your favorite thing at Mama's Pizza?
I would say the antipasto salad.
So they have this salad, antipasto salad. You know us hood folks, we probably pronouncing it wrong,
No,
but
you pronouncing it.
it's fire. It's fire. That's not my favorite thing, but the pizza there, the guy makes it like he would make his own pizza, and the toppings are super fresh. All the veggies, super fresh. Even though it's a thin crust pizza, by the time it comes out, it's like the toppings. You know, the crust is like this, but the toppings make it like
It's huge.
and we always get the deluxe, so it
It's
has
really
everything
good.
on it. It's fire.
And-
Mama's Pizza in St. Paul.
And it's a family-owned business, so if you're more about that, then that's even a more plus.
Support local business. You feel me?
And also, they give you a free little tiny
Oh yeah.
ice cream cone that's as big as my pinky.
They give you these little ice. It's the world's smallest ice cream cone. It's free at the end of every meal. It's like this big. It's really funny. But yeah, Mama's Pizza. That's number 2. I would say number 3 would have to be probably Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah.
Chick-fil-A. I mean, we was about Chick-fil-A before Kanye. We was
You
about
like Chick-fil-A?
family. We was about protecting our kids way before Kanye was. But hey, man, it's all in the family, so it's all good. But I would say Chick-fil-A, it's more of a fast food place, but it's just so good. And look, I'm sorry if you on this podcast and you vote more liberal, look, man, that's cool. But if you are gonna sit up here and blaspheme Chick-fil-A and act like it's nasty, I just don't know how people do that, because it's good food. You can say you don't agree with what they believe in, that's fine. But to flat out hate on it is just, that's just a lie from the pit of hell. Dustin, I know you don't buy my album, so I know you don't support local business. I'm just kidding. What up to Dustin Terry, our longtime friend? He's seen the good and bad sides of us.
He's a hater too.
But yeah, we still love him. I'm still hoping that he'll move up here and help me plant my church. Shameless plug. But so Chick-fil-A, I mean, the only knock is, like Kanye said, it's closed on Sunday. But I mean, it's quick, it's fast, and it's just delicious. It's just delicious, and they just take care of you. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, Dustin's not gonna take this podcast over. But what is number 4 of our top 7 restaurants?
I would say El Burrito, located on the west side of St. Paul, down the street from Boca Chica.
El Burrito Mercado. Why is it so good?
Number 1, it's a mixture of food and groceries. So they have the pan dulce, which is like the concha. Oh my gosh, concha. Oh my! Everything about El Burrito is just amazing. I'm just gonna say that. Their elotes. Oh, gee, the menudo. Oh my gosh.
They roast their corn during the summer out back. They have a grocery store, so you can go home and make your own stuff. They have the burrito ahogado. If you don't know what that is, what up, William? The burrito ahogado. It's a burrito smothered in sauce and then topped with sour cream and cheese, and it's fire. They got the pastries. They got homemade salsa. They got a buffet too. I think they got Taco Tuesday. I've been going there for a long time, man. If I were to recommend anything though, it would be the barbacoa tacos. I'm not, no cap, bro. It's just, there's nothing like it. So, El Burrito, that's number what? 4?
4.
All right, number 5, I would say for our top restaurants would have to be Benihana. Now, you got to go during lunch so it's cheaper. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because we ballers on a budget. But Benihana, man, is just delicious. The yummy sauce, right?
Yes, that's really good.
One time we was there at Benihana, and the dude, he's doing all the, and he's chopping it and flipping it all up, and then he's like, open your mouth. And then he's tossing in people's mouth. And then, I don't know if it was me or someone at the table kept missing it. They were like,
I think it was you.
I think it was me. I was like, this dude was shooting out here. He's shooting jumpers like Dwight Howard, Westbrook, just brick. So Benihana's super fire. We love it. We love going to it. We mainly go there on more special occasions. But the yummy sauce, we don't get that brown sauce, whatever that is. Just
That's
keep that.
Ginger sauce.
We get the yummy sauce times 2.
We opt out. Yeah, we opt.
And it's just fun. It's just overall fun experience. It's kind of weird sometimes when you have to sit by strangers and it's all, hey, how you doing? My name's Thomas.
Yeah.
We're gonna sit by you and have dinner.
Yeah, especially if they're super awkward and they're not outgoing. It makes it. But if you are pregnant, get the Las Vegas roll. It's deep fried, so that way you don't have to worry about non-cooked fish, and it is amazing. TJ's dad approves, and it was his first time trying sushi roll. I should have mentioned that in the beginning.
It's fire.
It's a sushi roll.
William comments we should collab on a podcast. Yes, I'm always looking for guests on the podcast. We can make it happen. So hit me up, hit me in the DMs afterwards. That was our 5th of the top 5 restaurants. So to recap so far, what do we got? El Burrito, Boca Chica, Benihana, Mama's Pizza, and what's next? The 6th one.
The 6th one. Ooh.
We don't want to leave anything out because we love eat. We're avid eaters. If there's one thing we're passionate about,
and Chick-fil-A. We put Chick-fil-A.
It is, and Chick-fil-A, avid eaters. So we're on to number 6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. This is. I would say Matt's Bar.
Matt's Bar?
Would you say Matt's Bar or no?
I mean, I've been there a lot. You only been there a couple times, so.
But I'm in love with it.
If you want,
the
fine.
Juicy Lucy, when the cheese just oozes out when you take a bite.
Yeah, the Juicy Lucy, man. Matt's Bar. Shout out to the homie JT who always hates on Matt's Bar. That boy's a hater.
Yeah, he's a hater on a lot of
Matt's
things.
Bar is fire. It's Obama approved.
Yeah, if you're into politics.
Matt's Bar is cool. It's a nice little spot. It's always popping. It's always full of people. If you're ever in town, I will take you to Matt's Bar. Hit me up.
He did that. He took someone else before he ever took me.
It just happens. It's life. But
no.
The Juicy Lucy, the cheese it's built into the burger. It's melting your mouth. Literally, it's fire. So that's the 6th one. I would say for our last restaurant, our favorite restaurants. Man, we gotta make it a good one.
No, we can't. We gotta outdo them all.
I would say for our 7th top restaurant, I mean, it would have to be Applebee's, just because they got half-price apps.
Well, we do eat there a lot, I guess.
I mean, it's just, we kind of cut down from it, but to be honest, like, when we lived by Applebee's, we went there for half-price apps a lot.
No, we scratched that off.
Oh, Original Pancakes House.
Yeah.
Scratch Applebee's off. We're not about that we're not about them chain restaurants.
No, I don't know why you're going that way.
Original Pancake House in Roseville. I'm telling you, if you want a good breakfast, if you want to feel full, but not like disgusting full, like you're a pig, because we've all been there where we've eaten it, just we're like, it tasted good at the time, but now we just feel like
gluttony.
Yeah. The Original Pancakes House, man, is fire.
Shout out to Ty and Tamika. Tamia.
And also, the last time we were there, someone paid for our meal.
Yes.
So shout out to them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if you go there, someone's gonna pay for your meal. But
I had a feeling it was the Dallas Cowboys people that were there representing.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna go back and pay for my meal. But Original, not IHOP. Don't get it confused. Do not go to IHOP where they sell burgers now. Hopefully that place gets shut down. The Original Pancake House is fire. I'm telling you, it tops all breakfast places. Fuego. Mm-hmm. So, this is the Morning Sun Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Two Braids. We have a special guest host,
Chelsea.
And that is our first segment, our top 7 restaurants. And we went El Burrito in St. Paul, Boca Chica Mexican Buffet in St. Paul, Mama's Pizza in St. Paul, Chick-fil-A, anywhere Chick-fil-A is, Benihana's, Matt's Bar, and the original Pancake House. So that's our first segment. We want to thank you for listening. We're going to get into the second segment. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Instagram at the Morning Sun Podcast, YouTube at TJ Two Braids. Add this podcast to your Spotify. We'd love to have you on if you ever want to be a guest on the show. The second thing is 7 things we love about each other. So I didn't write anything down. We're just gonna improv it, ad lib it. Chelsea is good with that, but I'm better at that. But
I'm not good.
Let's go back. We'll go back and forth again.
Okay.
So you can go first this time.
Okay, I would say one of the things I love about TJ is he's a hard worker. He has
ain't afraid to get my hands dirty. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
He has a really good work ethic, and I believe it comes from his dad and his grandpa. They were really good workers, and they set a good example for TJ.
My grandpa, that man was working literally till the day he died. My man was like a full-time employee at the age of like 85. Shout out to my grandpa Chino. Miss you, man. We used to go to breakfast all the time. But go ahead.
So he like works hard. He provides for his family, and so that's the one thing I love. Is his work ethic.
All right, one thing I love about Chelsea, I would say is she's loyal to her home, even though she don't really watch, for instance, Cowboys football games, but she wears the jerseys, the shirts. She acts like she knows what's going on, but she's very loyal. Not just to her home, but just in general. She's loyal to me, our kids, her family, her friends. She truly cares about people and doesn't want to do anything to hurt anyone. So I would say, yeah, she's really loyal.
I would say he's a great father to our kids. I never really truly had an example of like either parent, but like growing up, but for TJ, just to see just to see the way he interacts with the kids and to see the kids look at him and just see that sparkle in their eye when they see TJ come home, especially Thomas. He gets pretty wild. It's just a beautiful thing to see, especially like for nowadays for a guy or a man to interact with their kids. I just believe it's just beautiful, and that's one of the things I love about TJ.
I would say, what are we on, the second one or the third one?
Third. No, second.
Okay. So I would say for Chelsea, so I'm on the second one. Yeah. I would say for Chelsea, another thing I love about her is that she's not afraid to voice her opinion when it matters. And so she's not afraid to tell me or other people what's on her mind, and not really worry about the repercussions. So she's little in physical form, but she's a fighter, and she's a ferocious when she gets angry or heated about a situation. Like for instance, one time we was in the Skyways walking, and they wanted to ask her, is it okay if Adrian Peterson whips his kids? And, she ready to go in on the newscaster because she not afraid to voice her opinion that it's okay to spank your kids. So that's neither here nor there, but just that when she's passionate about something, she's not afraid to let people know what's on her mind.
Okay, so yeah, and the third thing I love about TJ is his passion. He's very passionate. Just in everything that he does, you can tell if he's gonna do something, he does it wholeheartedly. Especially when he works with youth, you can just tell it's there. You can tell it's something that he is passionate about, and he genuinely loves to help others, and so he will literally just give the shirt off his back to someone if they need it. And there have been plenty of times where he has given a bunch of his clothes and shoes to people in need, and so he's like generous and passionate about things, and that's also what like attracted me to him. So
all right, I would say for me the third thing I love about Chelsea is her, how good of a mother she is to our kids, and that she's able to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom, take care of the kids. I'm not gonna lie, especially with Moses, there's just days I cannot get that kid to quit crying. I could hold him, I could pat him, I could bounce him, I could stand up, walk around with him, I could put him in his swing, I could do this, I could do that, and the kid will just still not, the kid will just still not behave. So I mean, that it's just more than that, but that's just a practical example. But she's just a great mother. She loves our kids. Our kids love her. In fact, sometimes it's annoying for her because they're attached to her hip. And then she like, why don't they want you? Just mommy, 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 mommy.
There's another parent in there.
But I mean, it just goes to the fact that she is a great mom. Her kids know, our kids know that they can depend on her and whatnot. So that would be my third thing I love about her.
The fourth thing that I love about TJ.
Plug this phone in. Sorry. Go ahead.
Would be. Oh, I had it, but now I lost it. Oh, his goofiness. He can be goofy, but there's a different side of goofy when it comes to just me and him, and so I just love that I get to be able to see that part of him, which I should since I'm his wife, so I should see the parts that no one else does. But he can get to a sense of goofiness that y'all can't imagine. So.
And you ain't never gonna see it. I'm just kidding. I mean, I think a lot of people that are around me know. I like to joke, make fun of people, get made fun of. I can take it too, but yeah.
Not when it comes down to me. He can dish it, but he can't take it.
Cause she just be saying some it's not even. Anyways, we're not gonna get into that. But what is it? My fourth thing?
Yeah.
I would say my fourth thing I love about Chelsea is the fact that she can bake good. That's important to me as a fat man. Now, I mean, I've lost weight. Don't get it twisted. I'll still bust you on the court. So don't get it twisted. But as a person who loves sweets, this is the thing about Chelsea, too, that I don't fully understand. She loves to make sweets, but she doesn't love to eat them. So I don't really know where that passion came from. But me, I love to eat sweets. So I used to be skinnier when we first got married. I'm not going to show you my belly, but there's a picture you can see where it's like, man, your boy was looking good.
Especially his face.
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, I have lost some weight recently, but I love to eat sweets. She loves to make the sweets. It's not always a good combo for me, but just the fact that she can feed me those things, it means, it doesn't mean the world to me, but it's important, man. Mm-hmm. So.
Fun fact, I hate cooking and I can't cook, but I can bake. So, I would say the fifth thing I love about TJ is his enchiladas. If you know us, there's a feud between TJ and I and our enchiladas, but I can honestly admit TJ makes some bomb enchiladas, and that is not something that you can just do. It was actually passed down to him. It was born into his genetic system. You can thank your mama. I
got loyalty, got royalty in my DNA.
Yeah, his mom
How I make enchiladas in the sauce in my DNA. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
my mom used to make the best enchiladas in the world. She's not here any longer, but when she passed, I took over that mantle. There's a lot of things about mantles. I had to take that mantle over. I can't let someone else be the world's best enchilada maker. I got to take that over. So, if you ever want to try my enchiladas, hit me up. If you pay for the ingredients, I'll be glad to make it for you. I'm not even capping, it's fire.
Felicia, she's pregnant. She needs some.
Yeah, I got you. The fifth thing I love about Chelsea, I would say, is just that she's she's always she's in a more joyful mood more than I am. And that's just due to a lot of reasons. You know, I'm very passionate. I care a lot about people, care a lot about Native people. And so when I deal with a lot, you know, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I'm anxious, whatever. Vegan enchiladas. Whoa, my man, bro, you from the hood. Quit playing. What's going on here? I don't know. Our friend Felicia says B, who's our homie Brandon, can he make vegan enchiladas? I mean, I could try. I don't know nothing about vegan enchiladas, but that was funny. I could try. I don't know. But what was I saying?
A joy or something.
Oh, Chelsea's just a lot of joy to be around. She's funny. She tries to cheer me up and joke with me. Sometimes I'll be in a negative mood and I don't really want to be cheered up. But she's, you know, jokes, laughs, you know, and just brightens my mood and my spirit when I'm down. So, yeah.
I would say the sixth thing would be TJ's not afraid to... Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. Oh, TJ's not afraid to put me in check when I need to be, because there are times where I can be sassy. There are things that I need to be put check in. Like, not every woman will admit that. Like, I'm not even sure why I'm admitting that, but I am thankful for that. Because there are times where I do, or when I look back, I'm like, okay, yeah, I was being really immature about this, and but I think that just follows with, like, him being the head of the household, and yeah, so, like, him not being afraid to play that role, like, he's the man of the household, and I have to respect that, even though it doesn't come naturally to me at all. He can be the first to admit that's, like, yeah.
Yeah. What up, Pat, Matt? Been a long time. I don't know. When you bringing me to Montana, I'll be happy to come do a youth event or something. But I haven't been to Montana in a long time. Hopefully I can get there soon. I got friends there. Crow, on the Crow agency. But one's getting married, yeah. But the sixth thing I love about Chelsea, I would say, is that she really knows how to pray. For some of y'all that watch this, it might not make sense. You might be like, what is, she can pray good? What is, you know, like, you probably thinking about some memes or videos that you watch. But there's just a whole different gift for people who can intercede and pray. And when Chelsea prays, she really gets into it and is meaningful and is powerful. And I mean, she's prayed powerful things over me, but also other people, which not everyone has that gift. You know, I think many people pray, but they don't pray with confidence. They don't pray with authority or power. They don't even really believe half of what they're saying. When Chelsea prays, you know she believes what she's praying for, and she almost makes you believe too, because it's so powerful. So I would say she is an intercessor.
The seventh thing I love about TJ is his passion for Christ. He just his like. Okay, so just like his little spin back.
Spin back.
So
this might be a while.
No. Before I met TJ, I had a list of, like, what I wanted in a guy, and my top priorities were all godly, and TJ met all of, like, my top priorities that I wanted, and that was, like, someone that had a love for God, someone that had the same belief as me, which is, like, really important, someone that hears the voice of God, and someone that loves, that when they look at me, they don't just see, like, the exterior, but they see the interior, which is, he falls in love with the Jesus in me. And so TJ met those qualities, and that's the one thing I love about that. Like, love about him, and so, yeah.
And the seventh thing I love about Chelsea, let's see. I don't want to say something I already said. I would say I got to make it a good one because it's the last one. So I would say one thing I love about her, or the seventh thing that I love about her, is just the growth that she's had as a person, and the maturity, and that she is now even being more of a pillar for her family. There's, different things that we go through in life, and I had seen in the past where that type of stuff would kind of take a toll on her, but she just seems to be more mature and able to handle those things, and then even be able to be a refuge and a source of wisdom for people in her family who are going through different situations and difficulties. So I would say the maturity that I've seen in her, to be able to handle situations and life in a better capacity than in the past, which is important because we all want to grow as individuals. So that is our top 7 things we like about each other. This is the Morning Sun Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Two Braids. This is my wife, Chelsea, special guest. And that was segment 2. We're going to get into the third segment, which is 7 things that make marriage hard.
So we're not going to list our individual ones.
We're not going to personally attack each other.
So, okay, we're going to go back and forth. So we're going to list 7 together.
Just 7 general things that make marriage difficult. It doesn't mean that we have a bad marriage. Doesn't mean that our marriage is on the rocks. It just simply means that we're honest enough to admit marriage is a working relationship. And like any relationship, there's good and bads, highs and lows, and everything in between. And anyone who tells you differently is either lying or probably hiding something. So, the top 7 things, I mean, we don't know if it's the top, just 7 different things we think that makes marriage difficult. I'll go first. I would say lack of communication. Especially the longer you're married, the more you think you know each other, it's easy to just assume. You just make assumptions. Oh, she's going to do the dishes. Oh, we're going to leave at this time. Oh, we just assume, and it's almost like because you are so close, it's like you think you read each other's minds. You cannot read your spouse's mind. Your spouse cannot read your mind. Many arguments, disagreements, emotions could be avoided if you just communicate. Does that mean that we communicate the best all the time? No. But we're aware that when we do communicate, things go a lot smoother. So lack of communication, if you don't communicate, can make your marriage more difficult.
I would say another one, and I know this is a top one, is finances. Some people like to spend. Some people, or both people, like to spend. Or some people will not communicate when they're spending. And so then you go to you check your bank account, and all of a sudden you're like, where did this money go? And did you really need a new pair of shoes? And then someone would like to throw out, it was on sale. So yeah, but no.
This wasn't supposed to be personal attacks.
Sorry.
I just want to make that clear.
I'm sorry.
But yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
no.
It's okay. I can take it because I don't really care what people think about me.
I spend money too.
Anyways.
Yeah, but I feel like that is a top one. And if
but you use personal examples.
I know.
So it's okay. I'm just messing around.
But I do know other people in marriages that is their top source of problem in their marriage.
I'm a rapper. I gotta look fly.
I'm not
part
talking
of the
about
culture.
You anymore.
I'm just playing.
I know where some marriages are splitting up because of financial problems, because there are people that can't handle money and they're always spending, or just all the stuff. If you don't take a finance class, learn how to budget, learn how sit with someone that is able to deal with money and you and your spouse both need to sit down together and work out your budget. Like, okay, bills need to be paid and all this stuff, and if you don't do that, then like you don't realize where your money is going, and then you have like the dispute, the fighting of just money drama.
I would say the third thing that makes marriage hard is when your wife personally attacks you after you agreed not to. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would say it would be not assigning roles. So you just, again, assume that one person's going to be the cook, one person's going to be the laundry person, one person's going to be the cleaner, one person's going to be the grocery shopper. Even it's down to things like I'm expecting, this is for maybe mature audiences. You assume I'm going to have sex 10 times a week. Maybe your spouse doesn't want to have sex 10 times a week. You assume that your wife or your husband's going to automatically like the things you like. So on Sundays, I want to watch football all day. My wife's assumes she's, or vice versa, whatever it is. My husband, we're going to go to Hobby Lobby and shop for 3 hours, and that's fun. Not assigning roles and scheduling times and assignments and responsibilities, and even like your fun. What is fun to you might not necessarily be fun to your spouse. And for the most part, your spouse will probably go along with it. But if it's always you doing just what you want, so just assigning roles, something to think about if you're single, even if you're married and you never thought about it, or you're engaged. It's like you can't just assume that this person's going to do that and that person's going to do this. So one thing, we read a book one time that it just broke down all of that. It was like, who's the main laundry person? Who's the main cooker? Who's the main bill payer? Who's the main this, that, and the other? And to think about those things so that way your role is clearly more defined. It's just like with anything. Take a job, for example. If your responsibilities and job duties aren't clearly defined, you're not going to perform as well. And it's not that marriage is a performance, but it just helps the ship sail smoother when things are defined in more detail than less detail. So that was what, the fourth thing?
Yeah.
So fifth thing that makes marriage hard.
No, that was a fourth. That was a third thing.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Fourth thing.
The fourth thing would be, I would say, like what I talked about a little bit earlier was like, I kind of like defining the role. So,
So you're going to say the same thing?
No, TJ is the head of the household, and then I'm beneath him, and so.
That's not a good way to define it.
Okay, yeah.
But
Anyway,
what are you trying to say?
So like, me respecting your authority, like you have the final say.
Okay, so we take a biblical approach to our marriage. So we take a biblical approach to our marriage, meaning the man is the head of the household, and where the wife submits to her husband. I know that's not really popular language usage in our society, but it's not a matter of that I'm above. So when she said I'm beneath you, that's not good. Yeah. That's not a good way to describe it.
It was a terrible
but we agree that I'm the ultimate authority because God is going to hold me responsible for the relationship. Doesn't mean that she's any less than me. Doesn't mean that she's less special, less loved. Her voice is less heard, right?
Yeah.
But in a society that tries to go against and redefine these relationships, we hold true to that. And many times decisions that I make, I ask her opinion about. And that obviously goes into the equation, and we take that into account. So I'm not out here just making decisions by myself. But yeah, so. So what are we on the fifth thing?
Yeah.
The fifth thing I would say that makes marriage difficult. Why don't you do another one? Because
Okay.
I'm trying to mess with this.
I would say so. Like I never realized this until we had kids. But you are not the same person. Like TJ's not the same person he was when I first married him, and so when we had kids, he took on a new role, and that was fatherhood, and I took on a new role, which was motherhood, and just figuring out like the parenting, like not trying to put your kids before your marriage. And so people, once they tend to have kids, they tend to put their kids first, and then they put their spouse second, and that's not the way it should be. You should keep your marriage first and then your kids. And I feel like that's how you will have a successful marriage. Making sure that you are still doing date nights, that you're spending time together. Kids are wonderful. They're amazing to have, and I love my kids, but I will never put my kids before my husband. And it's because, and not only that, you can split a marriage. Like I've seen where marriages split because not that the kids are the problem, but the parents are putting the kids before each other, and it can cause just like terrible fights and trying to manipulate the situations and stuff.
Yep. So my bad, technical difficulties. If you're listening via audio link, my MacBook ran out of storage space, so you missed part of the audio version of the podcast. But we're back. So we are on the sixth thing that makes marriage hard. We're listing 7 things that makes marriage hard. The sixth thing I would say that makes marriage hard is the attacks that are on marriage, whether it's to redefine marriage, whether it's to obliterate marriage. Why do you need to be married? I should be able to live with, sleep with, do whatever I want with whoever I want. Marriage is a God-ordained union, and it's a gift. It's a beautiful thing. And then whether that be just attacks from people will try to tell you how to run your marriage. People will try to, even your family. The Bible says that a man and a wife get married and they start their own family. But your in-laws or your parents might try to dictate the marriage. And they're not necessarily attacking it per se, but just people adding things to your marriage that if you're not careful, if you don't guard it, if you're not aware of it, it just adds more fuel to that. And you're already trying to maneuver your bills, your kids, your job, your house, what. So at the end of the day, it's your marriage. You decide what's best, and you and your wife's opinions are what matter the most, not your in-laws, your parents, your brother, your auntie, your uncle, whoever it is, right? Doesn't mean that some people don't have good advice, but at the end of the day, you have to look each other in the eye and decide what's best for your marriage. So I would say any outside interference, attacks, which could even go deeper. I mean, we could talk about spiritual attacks, demonic things, oppression, opposition, whatever it is. And then for the last thing, I would say, I'm going to share the last thing, sorry. That your identity is not in your marriage. You don't live for your spouse. So I love my wife. I would die for my wife. I would kill for my wife. My identity is not in my marriage. Many people, they find their sense of worth in the other person. My identity is in Christ. I know that my identity is God-given, right? It's my birthright. It is who I am, who I was created to be long before I was ever married. The problem is people get into relationships and they think that that relationship defines them. And that's why you even see today a case of what happened with the shooting. We don't know all the details. We know it's a domestic situation where a relationship was broken And so a guy went and atrociously killed 2 children and the woman that broke up with him, or whatever the story is. Because our identity is found in those things. So we break up with someone, we're depressed, we feel worthless, we feel hopeless. We're living all for that person to make sure that we make them happy. We don't upset them. We don't do anything that makes them lash out. Whatever it is. Our identity is not in our marriage. Our identity is in God first. God has to be at the forefront. And from there, then we can be in relationship and union together. But I just felt the need to say that because there's so many people, especially young people that we know, who live for their relationship with their boyfriend or girlfriend or their husband or spouse or whoever it is. And they don't realize that their identity is not in that. It's not in that relationship. So that's important, and that's 7 things. That's 7 things that can make marriage difficult. So we're on to the last segment for the night. This is the Morning Sun Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Two Braids. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, the Morning Sun Podcast. This is the last segment, and it is, why is community / life on life groups important? So I want to, before we start, explain that our church, City View Church, is really big on what we call life on life groups. What a life on life group is it's you with the same sex. So for instance, my group meets on Tuesdays. There's 4 or 5 other men in the group. We meet together. Every group's different, but the synopsis is you meet at least once a week. You stay in constant communication with each other. You talk to each other. You spend time at each other's houses. You get to know each other's families and spouses and kids and pray for each other. Admit failures to each other. Talk about your victories, what's going good, everything in your life. And it's a support system. And it's a biblical model. You look at the book of Acts, it says that they were together daily, breaking bread together, praying, devoting themselves to scripture, and doing all these things. And so our church is very big on life groups. It's just basically a smaller community that you meet with frequently and you're honest with, you're devoted to, you're committed to, and you're accountable to. So you know that when you go to this group, you can't put your mask on that you put in society and sugarcoat everything and act like your life's all good and that your marriage never has any bumps in the road. It's just easy being a father. It's just easy being, it's just, everything's a breeze, right? Because we greet people and we say, how are you? Good. Very good. Yep, everything's good. Everything is not always good. It doesn't mean that our life's in shambles either, even though at times it could be. But it's a constant state of community to uphold each other and make sure that we're living the lives we want to live. And so why do we believe that is important? I'm going to let Chelsea go first, and then I'll further explain why I think it's important for every person to be in a community that can support them to be the best version of themselves that they were created to be. So why is life group important to you?
To me, it's important because I have a support system where I can be vulnerable and I can be held accountable to, which we all need, is accountability. And well, for me, when I first started out in the life group, we all went around in the circle, asking what is one thing we wanted to get out of it. And for me, I freshly just being here in Minnesota, I didn't really have a lot of friends. And so the one thing I wanted to get out of it was true relationship with other women in Christ. And so that was like back in 2015, like late 20, actually around this time. And we're in 2019, and I have developed like deep, genuine relationship with people in our church, and where if I'm going through something, I can always call on them. And like I don't have to go through things alone. I don't have to just always run to TJ with my problems or my family. I can actually go to someone that's in my community and talk to them about what's going on, and like vice versa for them, and just being able to just like help each other out whenever we're in need. And we can always pray for each other. And so like that's the one thing that I cherish. And yeah.
For me, I would say it's important because we're designed to be in fellowship with each other. We're designed to be in deep relationship with other human beings. And I don't understand the people that want to be lone rangers. They don't want to be accountable. They want to leave every group they're a part of. They want to leave every church they're a part of. They want to find problems with every issue. They want to do life on their own, because they think they're strong enough in their own power to do life on their own. You look at God, okay? You look at the triune God. There's the Father, there's the Son, and there's the Holy Spirit. All in community together. So if God himself is in community, deep community, why would we not be in deep face-to-face community? Then you look at the life of Jesus. Jesus, being God in the flesh, was in constant relationship with his disciples, his 12 disciples. They ate probably almost all their meals together for about 3 years. They all slept in the same lodging. They traveled everywhere together. They got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly side of each other. And yet Jesus himself was committed to that type of fellowship. So I am very adamant about life on life group. Does it mean everyone in my group's perfect? No. Does it mean I'm perfect? No. But I believe that we're designed to be in that fellowship. Now, if you're in that fellowship already, that's totally fine. You don't have to join a life group. But if you don't have fellowship, if you don't have a community that you can be honest with, 100% honest with. There's too many of us in society holding on to secrets, failures, struggles, mindsets, emotions, and then we wonder why we live unhealthy lifestyles or have an unhealthy mindset. A community you can be honest in, a community that can hold you accountable. Who in your life is mentoring you and holding you accountable? If it's no one, or if it's just your parents, I would look at your life, and you can call me judgmental if you want. I believe everyone has to have a mentor and be mentored and be accountable to someone. Whether it's your spouse, whether it's a close friend, whoever it is, we can't just live life doing whatever we want, saying whatever we want, with no repercussions, no consequences. Just do whatever we want in life. We are designed to be accountable to each other. We're designed to bear good fruit. You think of a tree that bears fruit. When you go to the apple orchard in the fall, you don't pick the rotten apples and eat them, do you? Why? Because they're rotten. We're designed to bear good fruit. If we're not doing that, then we need mentorship, we need guidance, and we need accountability. And I know it's a negative thing a lot of times to think about, why should I tell people my business? Why should I ask someone to hold me accountable? Why should I ask for guidance? Look, all we can say is that this has helped us in our life become better individuals, better parents, better spouses, better leaders, better Christians. The proof is in the pudding. So it is what it is. You can take it with a grain of salt if you want, but we found life on life groups and constant community to be a very, very valuable staple in our lives. And I wouldn't miss my life group I've missed it, but it's very something I'm committed to. And so I would encourage you, if you're looking for that type of relationship and community, we have that at our church. But here's what it takes. It takes being vulnerable. It takes being willing to be committed. it takes sharing that with other people. So it's not an easy thing, but you have to break down them walls. And because we've been through trauma, we've been hurt, we've been lied to, we've lost relationships, broken friendships, whatever it is, we put them walls up and we don't want to let anyone in close. And I can tell you from experience, it's real hard for me to trust people. But I had to get to a place where I lower that wall and I let people into my life and say, this is the real me, and we're going to be in fellowship together on an almost daily basis. So with that, that is the Morning Sun podcast. Again, if you're listening on audio, I'm sorry, you're going to miss probably 3 to 4 minutes of our content because my MacBook ran out of storage space and I had to free some up and then begin the recording again. But this is the Morning Sun podcast. I'm your host, TJ Two Braids. Thank you for listening. This podcast will be on Facebook Live, so you can watch it later. Tomorrow, I'll upload it to my YouTube channel, TJ Two Braids. And then from there, it'll also be on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, anywhere that you can find audio podcasts. We want to thank you for tonight. It's our 7-year anniversary. Thanks for spending this time with us. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you laughed with us. And with that, we got to go do grown folk business. So, all right, bye.